is a pregnant tigress who lives deep within the dense forest. A place where survival is an unrelenting challenge. As one of the apex predators, she has long been known for her hunting prowess, her grace in stalking prey, and her sharp instincts that ensure her dominance in the wild. But now, her life is different. She is no longer just a fierce hunter, she is a mother-to-be, carrying within her the fragile lives of her unborn cubs. The forest, once a place of her strength, has become a terrain filled with hidden dangers. Every step Luna takes is more calculated, every movement more deliberate. Her powerful muscles still ripple with the strength of the predator she once was. But the added weight of her pregnancy slows her down. Her once stealthy pounce is now a little less quick, and the hunger of her growing cubs demands more food. Yet, her instincts remain sharp, guiding her through the dense underbrush, alert to every sound, every rustle, every scent. Pregnancy, though a time of creation, is also a time of vulnerability. The survival of her cubs depends not just on her hunting skills, but on her ability to protect him from the myriad of dangers that threaten their existence. The forest is a hostile environment where predators and rivals lurk, waiting for any sign of weakness. For Luna, the stakes have never been higher. Luna's days are no longer filled with the excitement of the hunt. Instead, she spends most of her time resting, conserving her energy, and ensuring her safety. Her body, though still powerful, requires more rest than before. She hides herself in the dense foliage, curling her body around her expanding belly, guarding the life growing within her. The forest, which once provided her with an abundance of food and opportunities, is now an unpredictable landscape where every hunt is a calculated risk. Every animal she pursues could be a potential threat if they sense her vulnerability. And every sound could be the call of an enemy waiting to strike. Despite the challenges, Luna remains a fierce protector. Her sharp senses detect any sign of danger from a distance. Her eyes, accustomed to the shadows, scan the environment for any movement that might signal an approaching threat. Her ears, always alert to the slightest rustle, catch the sound of distant predators or rival tigers that may invade her territory. Luna knows that the safety of her cubs depends on her vigilance and her ability to stay one step ahead of any potential threat. Her bond with the forest is deep, but the forest, too, is indifferent to her struggles. It gives and it takes, rewarding the strong and punishing the weak. Luna knows this better than anyone. The same environment that provides her with shelter, food, and the opportunity to teach her cubs the ways of survival is also a place where life can be fleeting. For every success in hunting, there is a lurking danger, whether it be the teeth of a rival or the sharp claws of a predator. The forest is a place of beauty, but it is also a place of raw, unrelenting power. Luna's instincts guide her through the delicate balance of survival. She knows the importance of patience, waiting for the right moment to strike, and understanding the rhythm of the forest. The dense thicket that once seemed like a natural home to her is now a protective barrier, hiding her from potential threats. She knows how to blend into the shadows, how to move silently through the underbrush, and how to make herself invisible to those who might wish her harm. Her pregnancy, though a time of tenderness, also brings out a fiercer side of Luna. There is no place for weakness in the jungle. She remains focused, calculating, and ready to fight for the safety of her cubs. Her maternal instincts are strong, and she has learned over the years to trust her intuition. She knows when to stay hidden, when to stand her ground, and when to retreat to safety. The days pass slowly for Luna, each one marked by careful routines, hunting when necessary, resting when possible, and always watching. Her cubs' movements inside her belly remind her of the responsibility she now carries. A responsibility that goes beyond her own survival. The forest is a place of constant change, and she must adapt to it if she is to protect her unborn cubs and ensure their future. But Luna's story is one of hope, resilience, and determination. Though the forest can be unforgiving, it also offers a chance for life to flourish. In the midst of the dangers and challenges, there is beauty. The moments when Luna rests peacefully beneath the canopy. The quiet rustling of leaves as she takes in the serenity of the jungle. Offer brief respites from the ever-present dangers. And when the time comes for her cubs to be born, Luna will rise to the challenge, ready to guide them through the forest with the same strength, skill, and fierce love that has kept her alive for so many years. In the end, Luna is more than just a predator. She is a symbol of life in the jungle, a symbol of strength, motherhood, and the delicate balance between survival and nurture. The forest may be a dangerous place, but it is also where life continues, generation after generation, and Luna, with all her wisdom and fierceness, will ensure that her cubs have the chance to thrive in it. One day, a pack of hyenas began to attack Luna. The powerful group of hyenas descended upon her with ruthless intent, and for the first time in years, Luna found herself in a situation where she was outnumbered and outmatched. As one of the fiercest predators in the jungle, she had always been accustomed to being at the top of the food chain. But now, in her weakened state, carrying the lives of her unborn cubs, she was vulnerable. Luna had never faced a threat like this before. Hyenas, though not as physically imposing as tigers, were known for their pack mentality. Their numbers gave them a formidable advantage, and their relentless attacks made them one of the most dangerous predators in the wild. Normally, Luna would have been able to easily outmaneuver such a group, using her speed and agility to avoid their attacks. But today, with the extra weight of her pregnancy and the added risks of protecting her cubs, her movements were slower, and her reflexes were not as sharp as they had once been. As the hyenas closed in, Luna let out a deep, rumbling growl, warning them to back off. She bared her teeth, her powerful jaws ready to snap. But the hyenas were undeterred. Their predatory instincts kicked in, and they continued to advance, their eyes gleaming with hunger. Luna could hear their laughs and howls, the sound of their excitement at the prospect of a kill. She knew that they were not just after her, they were after the vulnerable cubs growing inside her. And that made the situation all the more perilous. In an attempt to defend herself, Luna launched herself at the closest hyena, her claws swiping through the air. She made contact, her claws raking across the hyena's side, drawing blood. The hyena howled in pain and backed off momentarily. But the others did not stop. They circled her, taunting her with their jeering calls, hoping to break her resolve. They knew she was weaker now, and they sensed her vulnerability. With every passing moment, Luna's strength began to wane. The hyenas were relentless, attacking from all sides. Luna tried to fight back, but her energy was rapidly depleting, and her movements were becoming sluggish. Her instincts screamed at her to protect her cubs at all costs. But the task seemed impossible with the constant barrage of hyenas. She lashed out again, her claws striking one hyena across the face. But it was only a temporary victory. More hyenas quickly took its place, pressing in on her from all directions. Despite the overwhelming odds, Luna refused to give up. She was a mother, and her maternal instincts pushed her to continue fighting, to keep her cubs safe, no matter the cost. But with each strike and each injury, the reality of the situation grew more dire. Luna was growing exhausted, and the weight of her pregnancy made every movement feel like an unbearable effort. She could no longer jump as high, and her reflexes were dulled. The hyenas, seeing this, attacked with renewed ferocity. In the chaos of the attack, Luna found herself pushed to the ground. She fought to regain her footing, but the pack of hyenas was too strong. Their jaws snapped at her, their teeth sinking into her thick fur. But Luna continued to fight back with all the strength she had left. She gnashed her teeth, snapping at the hyenas in a desperate attempt to drive them away. But it seemed like the pack was never ending. The hyenas knew that they had Luna at a disadvantage. The pack worked together with precision, one hyena biting at her legs while another lunged at her sides. Luna roared in pain, the sound echoing through the forest. But she couldn't escape. The weight of the attack was too much, and Luna could feel herself weakening. It was clear now, if she didn't find a way to break free soon, she would not make it out of this alive. But Luna's will to survive and protect her unborn cubs burned brighter than ever. In a final, desperate attempt, she made one last powerful lunge, her claws slashing at a hyena that had gotten too close. The hyena yelped in surprise and backed off. Momentarily stunned, Luna used that brief opportunity to push herself to her feet, staggering as she did so. Her breath came in ragged gasps, her body battered and bruised. But she refused to give up. With all the strength she could muster, Luna fought her way through the pack, her eyes focused on the dense jungle ahead. She could hear the hyenas behind her, growling and snapping, but she didn't look back. Her only thought now was to escape, to find a safe place where she could rest and protect her cubs. Her instincts told her that if she could just make it to the cover of the thicket, she might have a chance to survive the attack. As she stumbled through the underbrush, Luna could feel the hyenas closing in. But then, just as she thought she couldn't go any further, she found a small, secluded area where the hyenas could not reach her. With what little strength she had left, Luna dragged herself into the thick underbrush, her body trembling from exhaustion and pain. She curled into a tight ball, her belly pressed protectively against the ground. She stayed as still as she could, praying that the hyenas would give up their pursuit. The sounds of the hyenas gradually faded, their jeers and calls becoming distant as they moved on in search of easier prey. Luna remained where she was, her body shaking with exhaustion. She could feel the weight of her injuries, the pain of every bite and scratch. But she knew that she had to stay strong. Her cubs needed her. She couldn't afford to let her guard down, not even for a moment. Luna's fight for survival had not ended. But for now, she had found a fragile peace. As she rested in the shelter of the forest, her heart beat slow and steady. Luna knew that the battle was far from over. The jungle was full of dangers, and she would have to continue to fight for herself and her cubs. But for the moment, she had survived, and that was all that mattered. The hyenas had underestimated her, and in the end, it was her resilience and determination that had allowed her to escape with her life, and her cubs still safe inside her. As Luna lay in the dense thicket, wounded and exhausted from the relentless attack by the hyenas, she knew that her survival depended on her ability to remain hidden. Her body trembled with pain, and her breath came in short, labored gasps. The pack of hyenas had finally lost interest and moved away. But the danger wasn't over. Luna knew that the jungle could be unforgiving, and her weakness would likely attract more threats. She had to be strong for her unborn cubs. But in that moment of vulnerability, something unexpected happened. A group of animal conservationists, along with a wildlife expert, happened to pass through the area on a conservation mission. They had been trekking through the forest as part of a broader initiative to monitor the wildlife population and study the health of various species. The team, consisting of a few experienced field biologists and a veterinarian, was familiar with the challenges of working in the wild. But they had never encountered a situation like this. As they moved along their path, they noticed the signs of a recent skirmish, a trail of blood, broken branches, and the unmistakable scent of the hyenas. It didn't take long for them to realize that something serious had occurred. The wildlife expert, a seasoned biologist who had spent years studying tigers in the wild, immediately recognized the signs. "This is bad," she muttered to herself, noting the blood and the clear signs of a struggle. "We've got to help her." The team quickly assessed the situation. They had been prepared for any number of scenarios during their conservation mission. But they had not anticipated coming across a pregnant tigress in distress. This was not only a chance to save a valuable member of the ecosystem, but also a rare opportunity to intervene and help protect the future of the species. The expert had worked with tigers in the past and knew how crucial it was to act swiftly, especially when it came to a mother protecting her young. "We need to move fast," the wildlife expert said. "The hyenas could come back, and we can't afford to waste any time." The team quickly formulated a plan of action. They had been carrying specialized equipment for situations like this, tools designed to help manage and assess the health of injured wildlife, but also capable of deterring aggressive animals. They had non-lethal methods of intervention, such as sound devices, that could be used to disorient and confuse the hyenas long enough to give Luna the opportunity to escape. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was the best chance she had. The expert turned to one of the field biologists, who was already preparing a sonic device. "Set it up," she ordered. "It should create enough noise to disrupt the hyenas, at least long enough for Luna to move. We need to make sure she's safe. And that means getting her away from those hyenas." The biologist quickly activated the device, which emitted a loud, high-pitched sound that only animals could hear clearly. The noise was not harmful but was designed to irritate and disorient predators, causing them to retreat. They had used this technique successfully in the past to deter smaller predators, but this was the first time they were using it in such an intense situation with a mother tiger in danger. The team hoped that the noise would confuse the hyenas and draw them away long enough for Luna to escape the immediate danger. As the device hummed to life, the team waited in tense silence. The sound rippled through the dense jungle, reaching the hyenas that were still scattered across the area. At first, there was a brief pause, as the hyenas seemed disoriented. Then, the sounds of their growling and movement became more erratic, as if the pack was unsure of what was happening. The team held their breath, watching as the hyenas hesitated, sniffing the air. trying to locate the source of the disturbance. Some of them began to retreat into the jungle, their attention diverted by the strange noise. The expert, knowing they only had a limited window of opportunity, signaled to her team, "Go, now's our chance." One of the team members, a veterinarian, carefully approached the thicket where Luna had taken refuge. He moved slowly and cautiously, aware that Luna might be frightened or disoriented. The last thing he wanted was for her to feel cornered or threatened, which could lead to an aggressive reaction. He was a seasoned wildlife professional, experienced in handling dangerous situations. But he knew that dealing with a mother tiger, especially one in such a vulnerable state, was incredibly delicate. "Easy, girl," he murmured softly, trying to keep his voice calm and reassuring. "We're here to help." Luna, despite her exhaustion and injuries, remained alert. Her body tensed at the sight of the approaching human. But her instincts told her that this was no ordinary threat. The human did not move in a threatening manner, and she could sense that they were not here to harm her. She watched warily as the veterinarian approached, her sharp eyes studying him. The team knew that they had only a brief period of time before the hyenas regrouped and returned. The veterinarian reached into his bag and pulled out a tranquilizer dart gun, carefully loading it with the proper dosage. "This will keep her calm long enough for us to assess her injuries," he explained to the rest of the team. "But we need to be fast." He aimed the dart gun with precision, taking into account Luna's position and the fact that she was still extremely wary of human presence. With a swift, practiced motion, he fired the dart into Luna's flank. The tranquilizer worked quickly, and Luna's body relaxed slightly. She let out a soft growl, but it was more out of discomfort than aggression. The expert and the rest of the team moved in, quickly but carefully. They knew that Luna's injuries needed immediate attention, and that the best way to help her was to stabilize her and move her to a safer location away from the hyenas. The team used nets and other specialized equipment to secure her gently, ensuring that she wouldn't feel trapped or frightened. As the team worked quickly to prepare Luna for transport, the expert looked around the area, scanning the dense forest for any signs of the hyenas. "We've done what we can for now," she said. "Let's get her to a safer area, and we'll reassess her condition there. We have to make sure that she, and her cubs, are okay." With the hyenas temporarily disoriented and Luna now sedated and secure, the team carefully transported her through the jungle to a safer location. They knew that Luna's survival was still far from guaranteed, but they also knew that this intervention had given her a fighting chance. The jungle was a harsh place, but with the help of these skilled conservationists and wildlife experts, Luna's story had taken an unexpected turn, one that offered a glimmer of hope for her and her unborn cubs. After the harrowing attack by the hyenas, the animal conservation team worked swiftly to transport Luna to a safe area where they could provide her with the care she desperately needed. Luna, though sedated and temporarily relieved from the immediate threat, was still in a precarious condition. Her body was battered from the assault, and the weight of her pregnancy added to the complexity of her injuries. She had managed to escape the hyenas, but the danger was far from over. The team had a clear goal in mind: to get Luna to a wildlife sanctuary where she could receive the specialized medical attention she required. They knew that, given the circumstances, Luna's survival depended not only on healing her physical wounds but also on ensuring that her cubs were safe inside her. The team had extensive experience with large predators, and they understood that a mother's health was intrinsically tied to the health of her unborn offspring. The journey to the sanctuary was tense but uneventful. Luna was carefully secured in a transport cage designed for large animals. Her body gently cradled to prevent further injury. As they made their way through the dense jungle, the team spoke quietly, discussing the steps they would take to help Luna recover. They were cautiously optimistic, but they knew the real work would begin once they reached the sanctuary. Upon arrival, Luna was carefully unloaded from the transport vehicle and brought into a specially prepared area at the sanctuary. The team had already set up a secure and quiet space for her, one that was shielded from the stress of human activity and external noise. The sanctuary staff, including veterinarians and wildlife experts, had been informed of the situation and were ready to provide immediate care. The lead veterinarian, Dr. Kira, who had extensive experience with big cats, immediately took charge of Luna's care. She knew that Luna's physical wounds would need to be treated with great care. But her primary concern was the health of the unborn cubs. "We need to monitor her closely," Dr. Kira said, her voice calm but serious. The stress of the attack, combined with her injuries, could affect her pregnancy. "Our top priority is to stabilize her and ensure the cubs are safe." Luna was gently sedated again so that the team could perform a thorough examination. Dr. Kira and her team worked quickly but cautiously, checking for any internal injuries, as well as addressing the external wounds caused by the hyenas. They carefully cleaned the gashes along her sides and legs, applying antiseptic to prevent infection. Luna's body was covered with bite marks and scratches, but there were no major internal injuries. Still, the doctors were mindful of her condition and knew that the trauma could have long-lasting effects on her overall health. Once Luna's immediate wounds were tended to, Dr. Kira turned her attention to the pregnancy. Using ultrasound technology, the team began to assess the condition of the cubs. The screen displayed the faint, flickering images of the cubs inside her, moving slightly as they grew. "They look healthy," Dr. Kira said, her voice filled with relief. "It's still early, but they appear to be developing as they should." The team monitored Luna for several days, ensuring that her recovery was progressing as expected. During this time, they provided her with a quiet, comfortable space where she could rest and recuperate. The sanctuary, surrounded by dense forest and isolated from human activity, was the perfect environment for Luna to heal. There were no other predators around, and the sanctuary had an established routine that minimized stress for the animals they cared for. Luna's recovery was slow but steady. She began to regain some of her strength, and her appetite improved as the days passed. The veterinarians administered pain relief medication to ease her discomfort, and Luna seemed to respond well to the treatment. Her body slowly healed, the bruising fading, and her wounds began to close. Though she was still cautious and alert, she became more relaxed as she grew accustomed to the quiet, safe environment of the sanctuary. The team continued to monitor the progress of Luna's pregnancy, carefully checking the cubs with each passing day. Dr. Kira was particularly attentive, making sure that Luna was receiving the right nutrition and that her stress levels remained low. She knew that a stressed mother could affect the health of the cubs, and so the sanctuary staff did everything they could to keep Luna comfortable. They provided her with a calm, secluded area where she could rest without the intrusion of loud noises or unexpected visitors. As time went on, Luna's body began to show signs of recovery. The pain from her injuries had significantly subsided, and she regained the strength to move around her enclosure. Though still cautious, she would occasionally explore the space, her curiosity beginning to return. The sanctuary staff allowed her to move freely within the safe, protected area, offering her food and water regularly. As she grew more accustomed to the environment, Luna's demeanor became more relaxed, and she began to show the signs of a mother preparing for the birth of her cubs. The team also kept a close eye on the psychological effects of the trauma Luna had endured. It was clear that she had been through a great deal of stress, and they were mindful of her emotional needs as well as her physical recovery. Slowly, Luna became more trusting of the people who cared for her. They worked to build a bond of trust, giving her space when needed and offering comfort when she showed signs of distress. Though Luna had always been a solitary and independent animal, her recovery process required patience and care from those around her. As the weeks passed, Luna's health continued to improve. The team could see that her strength was returning, and they were confident that the cubs inside her were developing normally. The quiet sanctuary, combined with the constant care and attention from the team, had given Luna the chance to heal physically and mentally. She had endured so much already. But now, in the safety of the sanctuary, there was hope for a future filled with life. One day, Luna's body showed signs that the birth of her cubs was imminent. The staff made the final preparations for the birth, ensuring that Luna had a comfortable and secure space to give birth. They had been monitoring her closely, and they knew that she was ready. The team's care had helped Luna through the most difficult part of her recovery, and now they stood ready to assist if necessary. As Luna lay in her quiet corner of the sanctuary, the first signs of labor began. The team watched from a distance, giving her the space she needed but staying ready to step in if there were any complications. The peaceful atmosphere of the sanctuary, combined with the team's expert care, gave Luna the calm she needed to bring her cubs into the world. In the end, Luna's survival was a testament to the power of compassion, skill, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. The sanctuary had provided her with not just physical healing but a safe place to recover from the trauma she had endured. And as the days passed, Luna's future, once uncertain, became a little brighter, as her cubs grew stronger within her, ready to enter the world in the safety of the sanctuary's protective walls. After several weeks of attentive care, Luna had fully recovered. The injuries inflicted by the hyenas had healed. Her strength returned, and the once weary tigress now stood tall again, her muscles rippling under her thick fur. Her pregnancy, though traumatic, had been carefully monitored by the team of veterinarians and wildlife experts, and her cubs were growing strong inside her. The recovery had been a delicate balance of healing her physical wounds and ensuring her psychological well-being. And now, Luna was ready to bring new life into the world. The day arrived when Luna's body showed the first signs of labor. The team, though experienced with such occurrences, approached the situation with great care. They knew how sensitive this moment was for both Luna and her cubs. The sanctuary was prepared, with a quiet, secure environment that would provide Luna the calm she needed to give birth. The staff stood at a distance, giving her space while remaining vigilant in case they were needed. As Luna settled into her space, the quiet sanctuary seemed to hold its breath. The morning sun filtered gently through the trees, casting dappled light across the soft earth beneath her. The air was filled with the sounds of the forest, birds chirping, leaves rustling in the wind, but Luna was focused, her attention inward as the instinct to give birth took over. The humans, standing quietly in the background, watched with a mixture of awe and respect, knowing how special this moment was. It was a rare privilege to witness the birth of a wild creature, especially one that had come so close to losing everything. The process was slow, but Luna, supported by the peaceful environment around her, labored with determination. Her body trembled slightly, but her instincts remained strong. One by one, the cubs were born, small, fragile creatures, covered in soft fur, their eyes still closed, and their tiny paws flailing instinctively. Luna, ever the mother, immediately began to lick each cub gently, cleaning them and ensuring they were breathing. The cubs, though weak at first, gradually began to move and make small noises, their tiny bodies wriggling toward their mother's warmth. The team, although standing at a distance, could feel the power of the moment. This was a triumph, a testament to both the strength of Luna and the compassion of those who had stepped in to help her. Luna had survived against the odds, and now, her cubs had a chance at life. It was a victory not just for the tigress but for the entire ecosystem. Luna, once vulnerable and fighting for survival, had been given the opportunity to pass on her legacy. As Luna nursed her cubs, the team remained quiet, giving her the privacy and space she needed. They had done everything they could to ensure her safety and that of her unborn cubs. And now, all they could do was witness the beauty of nature unfolding before them. They had saved a life, and in doing so, they had secured the future of a species that had long been at risk. For the team, this moment was deeply emotional. They had witnessed the vulnerability of Luna, seen her struggle to survive, and had worked tirelessly to give her the chance to recover. Now, seeing her in the role of a mother, calm and protective, with her cubs nestled close to her, they understood the magnitude of their work. It wasn't just about saving one animal, it was about preserving the balance of nature, ensuring that the wild creatures of the world had the opportunity to thrive. The sanctuary was now home to a new family, and the team knew that their work was far from over. Luna's story, though filled with peril, was a reminder of the resilience of nature and the importance of protecting it. The birth of the cubs was just the beginning of their journey, and the sanctuary would continue to support Luna and her offspring, providing them with the protection and care they needed to grow and eventually return to the wild. It was a long-term commitment, but the team was dedicated to ensuring that Luna's legacy would live on. As the team stood together, observing this peaceful moment, the message of Luna's story became clear. It was a story of compassion, courage, and the power of human intervention. The team's decision to step in, to protect and care for Luna, had made all the difference. They had not only saved a life but had also given new hope to the future of tigers in the wild. It was a reminder that, when humans act with responsibility, love, and respect for nature, they can change the course of a life and, in turn, the future of an entire species. The team understood that conservation work was not always easy, and the path was often filled with challenges. But Luna's recovery, and the birth of her cubs, was a shining example of what could be achieved when people came together to protect the natural world. The message was simple but profound. Compassion and courage can change the fate of those who are vulnerable. And human intervention, when done with care and responsibility, can protect life and bring hope to the future. As the cubs nuzzled their mother, Luna's gaze lingered on them, a soft look of contentment in her eyes. She had been through so much. But now, she had her cubs by her side. And she had been given the opportunity to raise them in a safe, protected environment. Luna's life, once filled with struggle and uncertainty, had transformed into a story of hope. For the team of conservationists, this was a moment of triumph. They had witnessed the power of nature to heal, the strength of a mother's love, and the incredible impact of human intervention when done with empathy and respect. As Luna and her cubs settled into their new life, the team knew that they had played a vital role in ensuring that this family, and others like it, could thrive in the future. They had protected life, and in doing so, they had rekindled hope, for Luna, for her cubs, and for the future of all creatures in the wild. And so, Luna's story ended not with a tragedy, but with a new beginning, a new chapter in her life and the life of her cubs. One that was filled with promise and the opportunity for survival in a world that had once seemed so dangerous. The conservationists had given him that chance. And for that, they would forever be grateful.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please comment 1. And if you didn't, just hit like. See you in the next videos.